Hey. Welcome to another Saturdays with Shaw. So I have had the privilege and the honor to read this book. It's called The Power of God's Names, and it's by Tony Evans. And y'all, it literally has been blessing my entire life. And in this book, he talks about the different names of God, like Jehovah Rohi, Jehovah Jireh. He talks about Elohim. He talks about Elyon. And so it's like a whole bunch of different names that God has in the Bible. And he talks about what those names actually mean. Y'all, this thing has blessed me because it lets me see different sides of God that I haven't experienced before. And this week, I had to do a Saturdays with Sham about this one. Let's talk about El Elyon. I think I'm saying that right, y'all. I know how these Bible names be getting me, right? But y'all, so it means the source. And I want to read a snippet from the book, and then I'll explain why it blew my mind. Here it is. God is your source. Everything else is a resource. In other words, God's the only one who can provide something for you. And then he goes on to say, like, he can make something out of nothing when you have a need. And he says everything else in this world can be traced back to God. Therefore, everything else in this world, everything else that you see, is merely a resource. So I want to encourage you that if the resource that you were depending on is no longer there, you don't have to worry about that. You have a God who will create a resource that will ultimately accomplish his plan. No one can take it. No circumstance can block it. He is your El Elyon. He is the source. This is another thing. You can't expect God to answer you how he has before. You have to be open to accepting a different way of him answering your prayers. Okay, so let's say that you were going through something financially and he sent you a check in the mail. That's great. That's awesome. But you can't expect him to send you a check in the mail every other time. He may show up as sustainer. He may show up as not letting what you have go to waste, or sustaining what you have to keep you afloat. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So I want to encourage you this week, if you are in a situation, in a circumstance where you're depending on the resource, I want to challenge you to depend on the source. And I want to challenge you to not look for him to answer your prayers or your needs in a certain way, or the way that you want to see it. Let him be God. Let him be El Elyon. Let him be your source. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next week.